One of the greatest innovations in communication technology to date is the telephone. With it, we've connected over mountains, across oceans, and to opposite ends of the world. We can convey important information quickly and efficiently. The history of the telephone is an amazing timeline of experimentation and discovery. In the 1870s, Elisha Gray and Alexander Graham Bell independently designed devices that could transmit speech electrically. Both men rushed their respective designs for these prototype telephones to the patent office within hours of each other. Bell patented his telephone first and later emerged the victor in a legal dispute with Gray. Today, Bell's name is synonymous with the telephone, while Gray is largely forgotten. However, the story of who invented the telephone goes beyond these two men. Welcome to our channel. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe. It only takes a second and you can always change your mind later. Let's hop into the story. Alexander Graham Bell's success with the telephone came as a direct result of his attempts to improve the telegraph. When he began experimenting with electrical signals, the telegraph had been an established means of communication for some 30 years. Although a highly successful system, the telegraph was basically limited to receiving and sending one message at a time. Bell's extensive knowledge of the nature of sound and his understanding of music enabled him to consider the possibility of transmitting multiple messages over the same wire at the same time. Although the idea of a multiple telegraph had been in existence for some time, it was purely conjecture as no one had been able to fabricate one. Until Bell. His harmonic telegraph was based on the principle that several notes could be sent simultaneously along the same wire if the notes or signals differed in pitch. By October 1874, Bell's research had progressed to the extent that he could inform his future father-in-law, Boston attorney Gardiner Green Hubbard, about the possibility of a multiple telegraph. Hubbard, who resented the absolute control then exerted by the Western Union Telegraph Company, instantly saw the potential for breaking such a monopoly and gave Bell the financial backing he needed. Bell proceeded with his work on the multiple telegraph, but did not tell Hubbard that he and Thomas Watson, a young electrician whose services he had enlisted, were also developing a device that would transmit speech electronically. While Watson worked on the harmonic telegraph at the insistent urging of Hubbard and the other backers, Bell secretly met in March 1875 with Joseph Henry, the respected director of the Smithsonian Institution, who listened to Bell's ideas for a telephone and offered encouraging words. Spurred on by Henry's positive opinion, Bell and Watson continued their work. By June 1875, the goal of creating a device that would transmit speech electrically was about to be realized. They had proven that different tones would vary the strength of an electric current in a wire. To achieve success, therefore, they needed only build a working transmitter with a membrane capable of varying electronic currents and a receiver that would reproduce these variations in audible frequencies. On June 2, 1875, while experimenting with the harmonic telegraph, the men discovered that sound could be transmitted over a wire completely by accident. Watson was trying to loosen a reed that had been wound around the transmitter when he plucked it by accident. The vibration produced by that gesture traveled along the wire into a second device in the other room where Bell was working. The twang Bell heard was all the inspiration that he and Watson needed to accelerate their work. They continued to work into the next year. Bell recounted the critical moment in his journal. I then shouted into the mouthpiece the following sentence: "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." To my delight, he came and declared that he had heard and understood what I said. The first telephone call had just been made. Bell patented his device on March 7, 1876, and it quickly began to spread. By 1877, construction of the first regular telephone line from Boston to Somerville, Massachusetts, had been completed. By the end of 1880, there were over 49,000 telephones in the United States. The following year, telephone service between Boston and Providence, Rhode Island, had been established. Service between New York and Chicago started in 1892 and between New York and Boston in 1894. Transcontinental service began in 1915. Bell was awarded the French Volta Prize, and with the money he founded a facility devoted to scientific discovery, the Volta Laboratory in Washington, D.C., an institution devoted to studying deafness and improving the lives of the deaf. By 1885, Bell and his colleagues had a design fit for commercial use that featured a removable cardboard cylinder coated with mineral wax. They called their device the graphophone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the story of one of the greatest inventions ever: telephones. If you enjoyed today's video, do be sure to support our channel, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest uploads. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.